16 days of activism. I would like to especially talk about access to justice in Zimbabwe in respect of gender-based violence. I have a case in point where I have a personal friend who was assaulted by her brother. She was visibly pregnant at the time. When she went to the hospital, when she went to the police station to report the assault, the policeman refused to open a docket for her, and they claimed that she was being emotional because she was pregnant, and it was just a dispute between siblings, so they should just go ahead and discuss it. In Shona, they said, discuss. And they also said because she didn't appear to have any visible marks of violence, it really wasn't a matter that they needed to concern themselves with. So she went away. Then she spoke to me about it, and because I know members of the police force, I was able to phone the officer in charge at the central station concerned, and I explained to him that this is what has happened, this is what your officers did. They refused to open a docket despite someone lodging a complaint of assault. It was a physical and verbal assault, and then he said it's okay, she can come and she should see him. So she went, she saw him, and then he referred her to other officers who then assisted her, opened a docket. She was able to report the matter, and now investigations have started. So that snippet there, just that incident alone, shows that I believe it is a bit difficult for just the ordinary person to get access to justice here in Zimbabwe. Had she been a person that didn't know me as a friend, for example, she could have just given up, and the matter ends there. There's no justice because the perpetrator is not brought to book. Her violence is not addressed, and she has no recourse whatsoever, which I believe is the plight of many women, especially in domestic violence cases in the home. And I believe something needs to be done about it, which starts from being educated, women being educated about their rights, being educated about how you can go about accessing justice, and there being some synergy, I believe, between the police, social workers, and persons that are designed to deal with such incidents of domestic violence, and ensuring that women who are very vulnerable in society, and in this case my friend was pregnant, so she definitely was not only a woman, vulnerable, but in addition to that, physically pregnant, more vulnerable than just the ordinary woman. And I think it's important that some sort of fora is brought where there's that education about how one can access justice, and for justice to be seen to be done, not just to be there, because I believe not many women have that privilege here in Zimbabwe. On a personal note, I haven't previously experienced any violence, and while I've had family members, I've had friends that have experienced it, and a lot of them have not reported them. I think this is actually one of the 2 incidents that I know of where violence has actually been reported. But out of probably the 10 cases that I know, violence has not been reported. Why haven't people reported it? I think it's because people feel like reporting it doesn't help. So there's no justice whatsoever that you get. So people have just resorted to self-help methods, where you find some women are going to revenge on their perpetrators, or find a way to go about it on their own without involving the justice system, because I don't think many women actually believe in the justice system here in Zimbabwe. And in respect of educational spaces, I'm not too sure. I haven't heard of many educational spaces, but I believe there's room to create educational spaces, starting from educating children from a very early age in primary school, going to high school. People know their rights, women know their rights, girls know their rights. And I think if you start from the bottom up, certainly we will have a better society, and you can get a safe space where women can talk, where girls can talk. And if there's any violations, domestic violence that hasn't been brought to the fore, I believe in those safe spaces, if we can get facilitators and the necessary people to sort of alleviate or bridge the gap rather between the courts, the police, and those at the bottom, then I believe a lot of people will be able to open up, and a lot of human rights violations, particularly physical, verbal violence, will be brought to the fore. Many perpetrators will be brought to book, and I believe from there, I mean, domestic violence should go down. That's my belief. I'm familiar with the Domestic Violence Act, but it doesn't seem to have been widely disseminated to a lot of people here in Zimbabwe. And if someone could do, well, I don't know if it's there, but if someone could do a smaller version of the Domestic Violence Act, just like we have of the Constitution, a simplified version that even a grade 7 people could understand, and go about conscientizing people. I mean, lawyers, we're here to do that, and I am happy to do that, to conscientize people of their rights through even that smaller booklet or version of the act. I believe we would make a difference, because people actually know that, okay, like if you look at the Domestic Violence Act, it will tell you that this constitutes domestic violence, this is what can be done about that violence, there's the justice that you can get, and all of that. So if a simplified version is actually there, I believe that also contributes immensely to the educational system. And if more people are familiar with it, more people know about it, then surely more people should be able to access justice. And I believe the courts also have a role to play, because they need to ensure that they deliver justice, and people need to be confident in the courts. So that also comes from people having the knowledge, people being confident, and seeing the results that are actually being produced by the court. And the lawyers also play quite a great role, because they're there to represent the rights and the interests of those victims. And justice is for all persons. Even the perpetrators do deserve legal representation, because a person is always innocent until proven guilty. But lawyers, we also have a role to play. And I believe the next 16 days of commemorating, or educating rather, women on their rights in respect of physical, verbal, domestic violence will be instrumental in the schools and in society at large.